Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
We had snowfall to start our Sunday. Andrew's here to tell us if we can now expect more. A new Congress sworn in today as President Trump continues his fight to overturn the election results. The newly released phone call where the president pressures Georgia officials to find votes that would make him the winner. But we begin with new information on that family killed when their plane crashed into a home in Lyon Township. The FAA and the NTSB continue to investigate the crash that took the lives of a father, a mother, and a son. On board that plane, prominent home builder David Campo, his wife Michelle, and their son Dawson, a 2020 graduate of Detroit Catholic Central High School in Novi. Tonight we're hearing from the people who knew them and loved them. Victor Williams is in the Lyon Township neighborhood, and it has been a very tough process for these friends and family.
Yes, that's right, Steve. It's been a very tough process indeed. We know that the NTSB and the FAA are continuing to investigate what in the world could have caused this plane to crash into the home right here behind me. But like you said before, we are now finally starting to learn more about the people that were on board, and people are paying tribute. Those who knew David Campo, his wife Michelle, and their son Dawson continue to mourn the death of a family that met a dark and sudden fate.
He was an amazing family man. Just his family was first and foremost for him.
Sadly, all three would pass away together in the crash that has rocked the entire community. Saturday evening, the single-engine Piper PA-24 plane came plowing into this Lyon Township home. Many still questioning what could have went wrong.
We took many times where we flew on his plane with David. He was a great pilot and just a fun, compassionate guy to be around, and their family.
While David was also the president of the Home Builders Association of Southeastern Michigan, his 18-year-old son was preparing for a golden future and was highly involved in the Eagle Scouts.
And I was the Eagle advisor in the troop, so I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Dawson.
Dawson also recently graduated high school and was taking his education even further.
Dawson went to Catholic Central. He was a very accomplished young man. He basically ran cross country, did well in his academics. He's currently a freshman at Michigan State, or was currently.
But there's no telling the work that he or his father would have accomplished. Now, there's still a lot of unanswered questions still about what happened here. Where was the plane going? Where did they take off from? And even more, we're going to be going over those questions and what we look forward to hearing back from the FAA and the NTSB coming up tomorrow. Victor Williams, Local 4, back to you.
So sad. Thank you, Victor. All right, let's get our first check of the weather. We woke up to some snow this morning across Metro Detroit, so let's check in with Andrew to see if we can expect more tonight. Andrew?
Well, Steve, just checking on the numbers here. Sunday, the first Sunday of 2021, did not disappoint if you're a snow lover. Anywhere between 1 and 5 inches of snow fell across the area. The highest amounts of snow mainly registered in Livingston County. Pinckney, for example, over 4 inches of snow. Now, most of southeast Michigan received 1 to 3 inches of snow. Officially for Detroit, over at the airport, 1.3 inches of snow, but a lot more in many other communities. Over 2 inches, nearly 3 in Novi and Waterford, just over 2 inches in Shelby Township. And yes, we are done with the snow for today. This was mainly a morning and midday affair with the snowstorm that was overhead. The snow that occurred earlier has now moved well off to the east, providing heavy snowfall in parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and now New England over in Boston. So we are in for dry conditions throughout the evening, but it does get colder. Currently, temperatures are mostly in the middle 30s. We've got temperature of 35 over at City Airport, 33 in Howell, and 33 over in Pontiac. If you're still clearing the snow, it was a heavy, wet snow, and some of it is still melting, so we don't want to have anyone exacerbate any sort of health ailments. So be careful if you're still removing snow, because that snow is very heavy. Don't want to strain your back or cause any other sort of health problems. But what's on tap for tomorrow? It does get colder tonight, so we got to watch out for refreezing. We'll talk about how cold it gets tonight. I've got your 7-day forecast in minutes.
All right, thank you, Andrew. In Monroe County, an investigation is underway after terrorist threats are made against the sheriff's office. The threats came in the form of a social media post. The 37-year-old suspect threatened to blow up the building if the sheriff's office did not send someone to arrest him. He further threatened that he would kill anyone who attempted to arrest him. The man is from Gaylord. He does have ties to Monroe County. He is currently in the Otsego County Jail. The 117th Congress sworn in today, and a short time ago, the House of Representatives narrowly voted to re-elect Nancy Pelosi as House Speaker. Now, this is video of Senator Gary Peters taking the oath on the Senate floor. And you can expect some fireworks on Capitol Hill this week as a handful of Republican senators plan to challenge the Electoral College. Jennifer Johnson reports on a stunning phone call that has been released where President Trump tells Georgia officials to find votes that would make him the winner.
Or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which you're about to enter, so help you God.
As new members of Congress are sworn into office, NBC News has obtained a bombshell recording of an angry President Trump pressuring Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to find enough votes to overturn his defeat in that state.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
The call took place Saturday with people both at the White House and in Georgia participating. Georgia has counted its ballots 3 times, each time Joe Biden won. The recording comes as 11 GOP senators plan to challenge Biden's Electoral College win Wednesday.
We have tens of millions of people that do not view this election result as legitimate.
The Department of Justice, FBI, and several court rulings have found no evidence of widespread fraud in the election. In the recording, the president also claims his loss in Georgia will hurt 2 Republican Senate candidates in Tuesday's runoff election that will determine the balance of power in the Senate.
This is a nail biter. And my hope is that Democrats will show up and demonstrate that November is the beginning of a pattern.
President Trump clearly still upset about what happened in November, and President-elect Biden planned to campaign for their party's candidates Monday. Jennifer Johnson, Local 4.
Now, before being sworn in today, Senator Peters talked about the plan that some Senate Republicans have to object to the Electoral College vote. He called it incredibly dangerous.
I would hope that my colleagues know better, but I'm very disappointed that they continue to press this narrative, which is damaging to our democracy. It's fundamental in a democratic republic that people believe that elections are free and fair, which they were in this election, and to sow mistrust damages our democracy.
Senator Peters also says a top priority in the new administration will be the pandemic and speeding up the vaccination process across the country. Okay, the Lions season is over. Now they can focus on finding a new general manager, a new head coach, maybe a new quarterback, definitely a new defense. Jamie, tough to win games when you give up 5 touchdowns.
Steve, the Lions finished the season with a loss today to the Vikings. The defense, as it showed all season, not good enough to compete in this league. In fact, the defense finishes as the worst in franchise history in most yards allowed and points. This play at the end of the first half pretty much sums it up.
2 yards to get out of bounds. Dula does wheel out. Cousins delivers for Beebe, who stays on his feet and takes it in. That'll do.
Not great tackling there. Chad Beebe easily in for the touchdown, and the Vikings would win it 37-35. Now, the Lions' offense played pretty well. Matthew Stafford finished with 293 yards, 3 touchdowns. Marvin Jones had 2 of those. Lions finished the season 5-11, guaranteeing a top 10 draft pick for the new GM and coach next season. Now, we'll have post-game reaction coming up in sports.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. The United States marks another tragic coronavirus milestone this weekend, the latest on the efforts to fight the virus that's coming up. But first, a pastor is killed confronting a man with a gun inside his Texas church this morning. Why police say that shooter had been in the church for hours.